Hey traders, Marcello here, founder of the Day Trading Academy. Today we're doing a recap of what happened in the markets last week, finance, economy, everything. We have the interest rate gods have finally spoken. We most likely will get an interest rate cut very soon. And we'll even have the Central Bank of Japan starting to integrate XRP, which is a cryptocurrency. Let's go ahead and get started. On Monday, the stocks in the United States had their 8th session of gains. Traders were looking to the comments from Powell, which is the chairman of the central bank in the United States, for his comments that were going to be made on Wednesday in regards to the interest rates. Remember that the interest rates is the single most important piece of information when it comes to the economy, due to the fact that the United States, still being the largest economy in the world by far, almost 70% of that economy is consumer spending. So you and I going out and spending too much money on Five Guys, for example, is what almost 70% of the economy in the United States is. So if they do start lowering interest rates, which Powell didn't say that directly, but he said it's time for a change in policy on Wednesday. That would mean that they're going to start lowering them. We don't know how fast or how soon, most likely in September, but it's going to get the economy going, because now everything is going to be cheaper for you and I. Everything from credit card interest rates to car loans to mortgages. Mortgages, remember, so if about 70% or almost 70% of the economy in the United States is consumer spending, about 17% is the housing market. So with the interest rates going down, the mortgage rates going down, that'll get more people interested in buying homes. It'll become more affordable, and then the economy will start moving again. Thursday, new data was released signaling a weakness in the labor market, outside of the fact, remember last week that I mentioned to you guys that they overstated the new jobs that were created by 1 million jobs, which basically means that the labor market in the United States is just in a completely horrible position. Initial jobless claims, which is a proxy for layoffs, rose by 2,000 to 232,000, and the continuing claims rose by 4,000 to have its highest level since November 27th, 2021. So it looks like the economy is a little bit on shaky ground. As they start to lower the interest rates, that'll start getting recovered a little bit. U.S. markets mostly positive. The Communist Republic of Canada went up 0.90% as well. And some of the conspiracy theory news, where's my button at? The Atlantic Ocean is cooling at a record speed, and climate hoaxers are absolutely baffled. So they talk about how we're warming the earth. Remember that last week I reported to you that there were over 50 cities in the United States that right now in the middle of the summers have record low temperatures. And we're also destroying, obviously, the oceans because they're warming up at record rates, right? Remember, the record is only how long we've been taking track of them. Well, now the Atlantic is cooling at a record pace, and scientists are baffled because they don't know why. It's probably not the humans either, right? Who can give us an explanation? You guys are following me with that conspiracy, right? Exposing children also to high level of fluoride. Fluoride is a chemical that's in the chlorine family. The chlorine that makes your eyes feel the way they do in the pools. So fluoride, they found, is consistently associated with lower IQ and potentially other neurodevelopmental issues. Remember that they started putting fluoride in the water. It was the Nazis in Germany that started that. And one of the things I'd like for you to look at is the warning label on your toothpaste bottle, or, whatever they call that nowadays, or the box, that it says that if you accidentally ingest the toothpaste, to call 911 immediately. Now, the amount of fluoride that's in your toothpaste is lower than what you're drinking in your water. So they're letting you drink it without a problem, but they tell you to call the police if you accidentally swallow it in your toothpaste. The report concludes that drinking water containing more than 1.5 milligrams of fluoride per liter is consistently associated with lower IQs in kids, which, by the way, all of the water in the United States has fluoride. And World Health Organization considers that the same 1.5 milligrams per liter is a safe limit. This is why I think these people are absolute clowns. Overseas market news, the European markets were mostly higher. The Spain market was the most positive of all at almost 3%. Latin America was mixed. The Bovespa, which is the largest market in Latin America, went up 1.23%. Africa and the Middle East was mixed. Saudi Arabia was the biggest winner there. And then in the far east, Asia, Australia, that whole area, we have Thailand being at almost 4% positive, most positive of all. One of the biggest news for me this week is, according to reports, the banks in Japan are going to adopt XRP, which, if I'm not mistaken, they call it Ripple in the crypto world, for transactions starting in 2025. It's going to put Japan at the forefront of the digital money integration and allowing customers to seamlessly connect to the XRP for payments nationwide and earn rewards on the XRP system. It's pretty big news. Bitcoin higher this week, 7.70%. Friday evening, it was just a touch under 64,000, in case you guys are watching this on Sunday or Monday. And commodities and energy, successful Middle East peace talks are reducing the supply risks around the world. Thanks also to the falling dollar affected commodities somewhat, but for oil, it was mostly the scare is over about the big war in the Middle East. Oil prices came down quite a bit, 2.43% negative for the U.S. at 74.83, while international, which is Brent, is at negative 0.83% at about 79.02. The gold market and the silver market has been exploding. Gold again hit a record high, 0.17% positive to 2,513.10. Solidly up. Now a bar of gold. I don't know, you guys have seen them, right? The guys, the people that hold up those bars that are like this big, officially are worth $1 million each bar now, thanks to the price climbing to over 2,500 per ounce. Gold so far this year is up 22%, the best performance since 2020, and silver is up 2.64% to 29.88. Once I start lowering rates, it's going to start taking off quite a bit. Financial and banking news, China last week is showing that the new home prices are falling at the fastest pace in 9 years. So China now is on the verge as the welfare state is starting to crumble. There's an explosion in social unrest, protests, youth unemployment is soaring as well. And this could be the end of the China dream. Remember that all the news articles were saying how China was going to be the biggest economy in the world, blah, 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 blah. Looks like they might have a lot more trouble than what they were previously reporting. China, the government is also going to expand a $406 billion in their Social Security fund. This is due to the fact of their rapidly aging population. 1 in 2 people, or 50% of the people over 65 in Asia Pacific by 2040 are going to be in China. So remember, China had that one-child policy, and after they removed that, now people don't want to have kids anymore. So now there isn't enough new births to cover all the old people, and this is going to add a huge debt strain to the Chinese government as they continue, obviously, to try to continue to compete with the United States and become the world leader. Their pension system is going to run out of money supposedly by 2035, excuse me. Inflation in the Eurozone went up by 0.1 to 2.6% in June. The producer price index in Germany, which remember is still the largest economy in Europe, third largest in the world, went down 0.8% month over month. Canada's annual inflation rate cooled to a 40-month low of 2.5% in July, and matching forecasting core inflation measures as eased as well in Canada at the slowest pace in the Communist Republic of Canada since April 2021. In economic news, the business activity in Japan expanded at a faster pace in August, hit a 15-month high. Manufacturing sector, which remember, Japanese electronics, cars, they're a huge manufacturing hub, that swung back to growth as well. And then July, U.S. home sales break a 4-month losing streak. The supply rose over 20%. Sales are still down 2.5% from the same time last year. But now with the interest rates coming down, that'll do a big help to the U.S. economy. Remember, almost 70% is consumer spending. Another about 17% or so is the housing market. So it's about 85, 90% or so just being the housing market and consumer spending. So now once the interest rates start coming down, people will go out and start spending more money, start moving the economy, and then people will also start buying more houses due to the fact that the mortgage rates will come down as well. Political news: Venezuela's Supreme Justice Tribunal ratified Maduro's victory in the presidential election in Venezuela. They started voting for socialism. I was actually born there, if you guys don't know. I left, luckily, to the U.S. Capitalism, although it's not quite capitalism anymore. But be careful what you vote for, because Venezuela, they let the socialists in, these extreme left radical people, and they haven't got out yet. So be careful, the United States. RFK Kennedy dropped out officially from the presidential race on Friday and endorsed Trump. At the end of his speech, he was crying and he said, "I'm doing this to save the children." It's the first time a Kennedy, which we're all mostly leftists, has ever endorsed or promoted anybody from the right. Corporate news: the Telegram founder, CEO Pavel Durov, arrested in France and is facing 20 years in prison. I don't know if you guys have seen what's been happening in the European Communist Union, but even in places like the UK, for example, just to give you an example of what's going on, in the UK, there are more people that have been arrested for things they said online than in Russia. But Russia's the communists. Bank of America stock, they fell almost 2.50% on Tuesday after the Warren Buffett said that he was going to continue to sell the stock that he has. He's already sold $551 million in shares. Their 12-day selling streak started in mid-July. And Target shattered earnings. Their net income went up by over 40%. So their stock is up over 11% on Wednesday on the news. They gave good guidance as well, which is a good thing. And X, formerly known as Twitter, said on Saturday that they're going to close its operations in Brazil immediately after a Brazilian judge on the Supreme Court threatened a lawyer that worked for X in Brazil with imprisonment. They're going to arrest them if they didn't remove stuff from X. So it looks like the free speech fight is continuing around the world. Well, what situation would it be in right now if, for example, Elon Musk didn't buy Twitter? Technology: Taiwan's TSMC, which is the world's largest contract chip maker in the world, is opening up a new chip plant in Germany. They have given them billions of dollars in state aid, but it's supposedly going to provide a lot of support for Europe. And obviously, if there's a situation where China ever invades Taiwan, there won't be a disruption in that service. And the data center supply construction in North America has gone up by 70% compared to a year ago to 3.9 gigawatts. This is due to the expansion in the capacity for the AI data centers, which is going to take a huge amount of energy. And an interesting fact: archaeologists uncovered a giant rock in the Colombian Amazon bearing extensive paintings of animals dating back to 12,500 BC. The discovery sheds light on mythologies and the diet of the continent's supposedly first humans. That's the news for this week, guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, the preppers were right.